Arrow Season 4, Episode 5, Haunted. Now, this is the episode that I personally have been waiting for ever since it was announced that Constantine was going to be in this season. I really, really hope that we get to see way more of Constantine, either this season or just in the series in general, because I'm still really upset about the fact that they canceled Constantine, because I didn't know Constantine. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in like the premiere review that I did. But I loved the Constantine show that premiered last year, and it really sucked that it had gotten canceled. And I recently found out another show I like got canceled, so that really sucks. But I was like, this is a really good show, and it was for a comic book character that I really knew nothing about. Like, my only experience with Constantine was the old Keanu Reeves movie, which I did not know was about a comic book character whatsoever. Never knew that until the Constantine show came out and people talked about the movie, and I was like, I didn't know that at all. I love the show. I think Matt Ryan is a great Constantine. He's really awesome as Constantine. So I was like, I'm super freaking excited for this episode, and it did not disappoint. As far as I'm concerned, it was definitely a good episode. They did a lot of focus on Constantine. We got to hear the theme that used to be in that was in the Constantine show, so that was really awesome. He was in not only the present, but he was also in the flashbacks. That's how Oliver actually met Constantine. And I was like, this is really cool. The whole thing was about them getting Sara and bringing her back from just the sheer insanity that she was in. So we have Sara by the end of the episode, which is really great. But leading up to that, we have a pretty interesting flashback, which, if it weren't for the fact that Constantine was canceled, they probably wouldn't have done this crossover if that weren't the case anyway. But it makes me wonder, like, because he went and, like, stole this whole thing, and then he does the little spell and it takes the tattoo off of his arm and he puts it on Oliver. And it made me wonder, like, what did he really go there for? But he helped Oliver. He gave him some form of spell-based protection because he knows that some mysticism stuff is going on. So that was actually kind of cool. And I'm wondering, because he's like, oh, you'll know what to do. Whenever that happens, it always makes me think it's going to be some really huge thing. And it's just like, I'm pretty sure it was Chinese, I believe. And he just puts like a Chinese tattoo on him, and I'm like, he's just going to know what that means. Like, I don't know what type of ward it is against other spells, but he took it off his arm and was like, boom, there you go, a little bit of protection. And then he took off, and that was all there was to it. And I was like, what did he go there for? Like, what was this thing? Like, does it just transfer spells from one person to the next, or what? It brought up some questions for me, which of course won't get answered because there's no other story for Constantine to go to from, at least not from this version, obviously. Like, the comic books is still there. But I thought that was cool. I was surprised that he was in the flashbacks. I thought for sure that it was only going to be in the present. But he's in the flashbacks. He's in the very first flashback. He's getting beat up, and he turns around. They do the theme and stuff, and it's Constantine. They go out with another guy, I believe they killed off the first guy or something like that. Like, every time someone goes with Oliver, they end up dying or something happened. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but they end up split up, and it's only Oliver and Constantine, of course. I remember now, because Constantine whooped up everybody, and then I don't know why the guy stopped him, or like put his gun down when he was about to shoot Oliver, because that made it seem like he cared way more than I personally thought he should have. Because it's like, this new guy randomly comes in. Yeah, he's lived on the island, but ultimately it's like, this is just some random dude. Like, I wouldn't have thought he would have given a single crap that Constantine had a gun to Oliver's head. But he totally cared. He like threw his gun down and everything. I was like, alright, like, don't shoot him and stuff. I was like, I'm incredibly shocked by how much he seems to care about Oliver. And he's been there a day. Like, in the flashbacks, they have not had a scene at night, I don't think. I think everything has been in the day. So I'm pretty sure this is still technically the same day for the flashbacks. It could be a different day, and it probably is. But I don't remember any scenes taking place like actually at nighttime. So if he went there like in the morning, we've seen like maybe 3 or 4 hours. So it could be like 1 p.m. during the flashbacks, honestly. But it's just the two of them naturally, and that really surprised me. Like, Oliver saves Constantine, so he owes him one. He calls in the favor. We get Constantine in the present. We actually even get a fight scene with Constantine when they actually go to the other realm to save Sara. And that was cool. I was like, this is pretty fun. We got a nice little action scene at the end. Um, Oliver and Laurel have to help bring Sara out of this sort of alternate dimension pit, or sort of like basically like the hell dimension pit. And so they get her out, they save her life. Constantine does like a pretty cool spell where he freezes one of the League members and he just stabs him in midair. I was like, that looked pretty cool. I like the way they did that, just CG wise, like how they had it where it was like the person was clearly not frozen, and I think they were actually standing on like a box that was like green screened out, because it looked like they were actually standing on something, and then they kind of fell forward, but of course they actually hit the ground. But it looked like, because they were so still, I'm like, they can't be on wires and be that still, can they? So I think they had like some sort of green screen box there or something. And maybe it was just wires, maybe it was just totally still, but it just really looked like that person was standing right on something, and then they just, fell right over. So, that easily could have been done, because all they would have had to do is just film from that same angle and just be like, everybody move, and then just, film right there and just CG the box out. But I thought that looked cool. It was a nice little thing to see him actually be in a fight. And he's trying all these, I think he tried like, maybe it was either one really long spell or it was multiple short spells. I was thinking it was multiple short ones, but it actually could have been a long one, because he did do something that was fairly big where he like freezes a person in midair and then he takes them down. But it was cool no matter what. That was definitely fun. So that was really nice to see. Constantine in general in this episode, it was like, this is good. That was just really fun. Definitely what I was looking for. There's some other stuff in this episode for sure that happened that was really huge and is going to be very important for the next episode, and that is mostly the fact that we are officially given Ray as being alive. Like, they listened to the note again, or they listened to the message because it sounded really distorted. So Felicity, I really gotta remember the guy's name. All I can remember is like his hero name, which is like Mr. Terrific or something like that. But she gets him to work on this stuff because it sounds distorted and double layered. So we officially find out that Ray is alive. So I can officially say that, because there's the whole thing for some people, they didn't watch like the Legends of Tomorrow trailer. So some stuff you would know and some stuff you wouldn't know. Like, there are certain people that have shown up in Flash that are going to be in the Legends of Tomorrow, but you just never know what you may or may not be spoiling, even though the trailer's been out there. I think around the same time they did the trailers for this season of Arrow and Flash, they did Legends of Tomorrow, which I do wish they held off on, because it would have been really awesome if they waited to show us that trailer until after the whole Sara and Ray stuff was revealed, because those were the two characters, really those are the only characters in it where it's like, oh holy crap, they're not, they were brought back to life or something. And it's like, man, if they'd let that go, it would have been like some really awesome surprises. But still awesome to see it in the trailer, so I'm looking forward to it. But we officially hear that Ray is alive. Based on the trailers, he's been taken by someone. That's what it looked like. Like, he was being held in a cage by somebody that found him, I guess. So definitely looking forward to that. Love the fact that we got the official reveal. And I like how they're doing these sort of parallels with Sara and Ray, because these were, like I said, the two characters that were presumably dead. Well, Sara was just flat out dead, and Ray was kind of missing / believed to be dead. And then for each of their characters, each episode, like we officially have Sara in this one, and I'm assuming they're gonna full on save Ray by the end of the next episode. So they're keeping in line for both these characters and having them, kind of be brought back at the exact same time, or at least very, very closely. And I was like, that's actually really cool. I like the way that they're doing that, because these are two really important things for this season, and they're kind of doing them at the same time. It's like, we got Sara back, it's taking a bit of time, reveals to this character, reveals to that character, solution, and then, sort of cryptic messages to Felicity, like it's probably Ray. We find the message to Ray, which we also find out in this episode is slightly distorted and has like a double layers to it. And then we get the end of the episode where Ray is alive. So I like how they did the parallels, and they're almost fully in line. Like, we saved Sara, brought her back to life. Now we're gonna save Ray and get him back to like normal size, and then we'll get like Adam and everything. So I'm looking forward to that for the next episode for sure. Um, Honestly, I can't really remember much else about this episode. I feel like it was only the Constantine stuff and the Felicity thing. And it's probably just because I was so freaking excited. I can't remember anything that doesn't have to do with Constantine for this episode. But it was definitely fun. We do get to see the old club in this episode. We get to see Verdant, which I thought was pretty interesting. That was sort of a small scene that takes place. And I believe that was when they were... I think that was when they were like baiting Sara to kind of come in and attack Thea. But that was pretty interesting. As I said, the action for the show is never really lame or anything like that. So it was definitely entertaining. We get Sara back. I'm wondering if we're gonna have a side story of Sara possibly going back to the League of Assassins to see Nyssa, because that would be interesting if she got to see Nyssa and Nyssa's like, holy crap, they like actually saved you and you're not like insane or anything. So that would be pretty interesting. She's gonna be herself again. She still technically has to heal a little bit, but she's gonna be herself, and I can't wait to see how they do that. And I would assume that she's gonna be a part of the next episode. It's not like, oh, we saved Sara and then it's all about Ray and then we don't get to see Sara at all. They'll probably tell her to like sit out the mission, unfortunately, until they believe that she's 100%. So we probably won't get to see her fight. Like, and I would love to see that if we got to see Sara and Laurel team up. That would be awesome if we got that sooner rather than later. But they're probably gonna have her sit out, and they're gonna have to figure out sort of the superhero thing. And I know, once again, I don't want to spoil it, but I know who she ends up becoming and what they give her as like a superhero name or superheroine name. But I don't want to say it just in case you guys haven't seen the trailer. But it's really cool. I like it. Very similar to what she was previously. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Great episode, though. I know that there has to be a bunch of stuff I'm missing. But all I can think about is this episode had Constantine. It did exactly what it should have done for having Constantine in it. Like I said, I was surprised that he was in the flashback, so that kind of caught me off guard, but I certainly loved it. That gave Oliver his first look at mysticism and magic in the Arrowverse, which I think is great, because we knew that that's what was happening, because like he knew, like once he saw Damien Dark, like, oh, that's magic. So we knew that he found that out on the island from, in which obviously once it's like, oh, that's magic, obviously we're gonna see him figure magic out in in this season's flashbacks. But it's actually kind of cool that of all the things, Constantine was the very first person to give him his initial taste of magic. So I was like, that just makes it a little bit cooler. He was the first person. I'm pretty sure Oliver still has the Chinese writing tattoo on him at this point. I could easily be wrong because, admittedly, I'm never really paying attention and looking at Oliver to be like, what tattoos does he have on him? All I know now is that he has the one that was of Shadow taken off, and that's all I really know. So, in the next episode, I'm gonna have to like watch and be like, does he still have the Constantine tattoo on him? And is it something that he can continually use, or was it like a one-time thing and now it's just he's got random Chinese writing tattooed on him, which I guess is common for a lot of people. Just, hey, let's get this tattoo. But definitely a fun episode. Like I said, I really hope we get more Constantine because I love this show. I of course still wish we had it. I'm still mad every time I talk about it. I'm still mad at CW for not picking it up because they had the opportunity to do it as well, and it just made perfect sense. I was kind of shocked, to be totally honest, that even CW passed on picking up Constantine, and they probably would have had to change it a little. And that was something I noticed about this episode. The Constantine show was about as dark as they could get on, I think it was on NBC. And so they couldn't show certain things, but they'd have like limbs and there'd just be dead people all over the place and limbs ripped off, pools of blood and stuff. We have Supernatural, but even Supernatural doesn't get that insane for the most part. Typically it's just someone's getting beat up a bunch and they're bleeding from their lips and they're all bruised up. That's generally about it. So that was something I definitely noticed in this episode, like with Constantine, and he was about to definitely like shoot a bunch of different people, but he doesn't, and it was like a interesting way to show him as this character that was gonna kill other people if he had to, but they kind of toned it down a little bit for the CW, and they made it where it was an easier way for him to get out instead of kind of the crazy bloodiness that was in the NBC version of Constantine. It was definitely awesome. Love the episode. Hope we see more of them for sure. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And of course, whether you watched the Constantine show or you didn't watch it, I want to know what you guys thought about Constantine being in this episode. If you guys enjoyed, just the way he was. If you guys like how, he was acted. Because like I said, personally, I think Matt Ryan is an amazing Constantine. Like, I thought he did a great job on this show. And just his mannerisms, I think, just worked perfectly for the show. Some of his dialogue was definitely great. Like when he was like, "If I knew you were surrounded by so many beautiful women, I would have come to town much sooner," and stuff like that. So I definitely enjoyed his character in this episode. But I do want to know what you guys thought. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.